First of all, I want to thank you that for letting me come here to do this interview for the Library of Congress. So I will begin. My name is Susan Caolo, and I am here at the home of Vincent Charles Esposito, and we are going to be conducting an interview for the Library of Congress Veterans History Project in Washington, D.C. Today's date is January 21st, 2023, and we are in Acworth, Georgia. And today I have the honor of being able to sit here, and it always is an honor, so thank you so much.
You're welcome.
We've had a chance to talk many other times before, but now we're going to start getting this on the record and to be continued. But so just to begin with, for the record, could you state your name and spell your name?
Vincent Charles Esposito, Esposito.
Okay. And could you give where were you born?
I was born in St. Albans, New York, Queens County,
Okay. And
in 1931.
And what was the date of birth? What was your month?
March 31st, 1931.
We've got a lot of 31s. Okay. And also, just tell me when you went, what branch of service did you serve in, and what was your highest rank?
U.S. Marine Corps. I was a sergeant when I was discharged.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. All right. That just lays a foundation. So just to get started, do you remember, or can you comment, before you went in to the service, were other people in your family, were you oriented towards the Marines, or do you have other relatives that served? What was your knowledge of the Marines, or what got you to select
Well, at the time, the Korean War had just started.
Mm-hmm.
So I used to work in this place where they built cameras, and 5 of us went down to join the Marine Corps.
Why did you choose the Marine?
Always liked the Marines. I had a lot of friends that went into the Marines, and I just thought that I wanted to get into Marines. I didn't like the Army or the Navy or anything else like that.
So did you go sign up? Were you with some other buddies at the
Yeah.
time? Do you remember any of their names?
There was 5 of us. I don't remember. I know one guy with Jim, and the funny part was he didn't want to come with us, and we forced him into coming with us, talked him into it, and when they did the examinations, they rejected him.
So he didn't even make it in.
So he went into the Navy.
So I'm curious, you said the Korean War was going on. How aware were you of the conflict? Or did you know much about it, or were you not
No, just knew that we went back to war, and my mother and father, we moved from Jamaica, Queens, out to Long Island, and there was nothing out in Long Island in 1951, and I was there about 5-6 months, and I said, I don't want to stay out here. I was a city guy, so I went in and joined the Marine Corps.
Okay.
And got out.
So when you went into the Marine Corps, so when you signed up, then how long was it before you actually showed up, or where were you shipped out?
I think you gave us a week, and then we had to report to, I don't remember, I guess it was a couple of weeks. They gave us a date, and I went in February the 4th, 1951.
And then how did you travel to where your destination was?
They put us on a train. We was on the train for a couple of days, and we arrived in Paris Island about 9 o'clock at night, and then all the DIs came out and greeted us in their usual way.
What was that?
Yelling and screaming and get moving and so forth and so on. And everybody thought at that time was that they made a mistake. But we stayed, and I think it was 12 weeks we were out. We got a leave to go back. We took a furlough, and we went back, and they took us by train to Camp Pendleton, 5 days. They didn't allow us off the trains. They had the food on the trains and so forth, and if we wanted something to drink, the porter used to go with different stops, and we'd give him money to buy liquor. And we finally arrived in Camp Pendleton 5 days later, and they gave us leave for 2 days, and we went into L.A., to Los Angeles, and went to the Hollywood Palladium first thing. Found out that we couldn't drink in the Hollywood Palladium because we were only 19, and in California, you had to be 21.
Oh, wow.
So
Wow.
that we couldn't drink. But we got drinks.
Man, when you went to Paris Island, had you ever been to Georgia before, or to the south?
Oh yeah, I traveled through Georgia. And Paris Island was a swamp. And while we were in training, we lost, I think it was 4 or 5 guys died
Really?
in the swamp. Yeah.
During training? During
Yeah.
boot camp?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think it was 4 or 5 guys. But in fact, I still have the paper from Paris Island, a newspaper, on what activities was happening at that time. The paper I have right here.
Oh, we should get a copy of that.
I have it.
How was boot camp, though, for you? How was that experience?
Different. I mean, it learned us to become a person, with the discipline, and they made people out of us, that we could take it, and there was a couple of guys that couldn't take it, so they discharged them. But we went through it, and we went to the rifle range was the last stop, and we laid in the mud for days, just shooting blanks. And then sometimes we just take the rifle and just pull a trigger just to see how it feels. And it was a training. But they're tough. The DIs were tough. I had a little. I didn't shave or something, and I had hairs on my face, and the DI caught it. So he made me stand there and dry shave for 2 hours. And there's a lot of stories about Marine Corps boot camp. And today is tough too. We didn't go through the training like they do today, but we had the training. And then when we got to Camp Pendleton, all we did was run up in the hills, in and out of the hills. And then the last week that we're there, we went on a 5-day march. And all we got to drink was water, 1 canteen of water a day. And they gave us dried tuna fish sandwiches and an apple. And that was our meal. And the last day that we were on the march, they said, okay, we're going back now. And we had to climb the fire break, the mountain. And I don't think half of us had to stop. More than half of us had to stop 5 or 6 times to climb that fire break.
Wow.
But we did.
Yeah.
And then they gave us a leave, and we came back, and they put us on a train and went to, on the buses. We went down to San Diego. We shipped off from San Diego.
Well, you said before you were a city boy. When you went to Paris Island, had you been athletic? Were you in good shape before you went, or used to the?
I was just out of high school, I guess. I was 19 years old, and I've been in good shape all my life. Really, I haven't had too much.
That's great.
Sicknesses. I've had 1 or 2 operations and knee surgery, but basically I made it through good. And I'm still here.
Yes, I know. Thank goodness. I know.
I'll be 92 in March.
Congratulations,
And
and
never thought I'd live until 92.
well, you're
I thought I'd die at 62. So
yeah.
I'm still, and then I moved into Southern. My wife, we got married. I was married 60 years.
Congratulations.
And
on that.
then my wife, I took care of her for 15 years. She was sick in and out of hospitals and nursing homes. And then finally, when she passed away 8 years ago, I stood in my house for about 2 years, and then I came here to Celebration Village. I've been here 5.5 years now.
Well, yeah, I'm sorry that you lost your wife, but 60 years is
60 years
wonderful.
is a long time.
Yeah, that's a long time.
It's a whole lifetime.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's a different... I'm glad that I moved here, because here I don't have to worry about nothing. I don't have no electric bills, I don't have no water bills, I don't have to repair nothing. It's just, it's expensive, but it's worth it, you know.
Yeah, you get the quality of life.
Yeah, the quality of life is right.
Yeah, no, that's wonderful. And there's a large veteran community, which I hope we'll get to sit down and have we need to get more of the stories. But do you remember, going back to when you were in San Diego then and you were getting shipped out, had you made friends up to then? I mean, were there buddies? Were you pretty close with your Marine?
I had one guy we used to pal out, we used to play cards together. He lived in Long Island. And unfortunately, when we got to Pendleton, they separated us.
Oh,
And he got put on KP duty. And we got shipped out after training. And then I got lost track of him. So when I got back from Korea, we went to San Diego again and waiting for our orders. And when I got back the first night, we went on leave. And then when I got back, there was a sign on the bed. Somehow he seen that I came in, and he left a note that he'll see me tomorrow. So I seen him, and this is over a year now that we hadn't seen each other. So we talked, and he was happy to see me, that I was okay. So I said, well, what'd you do? Did you stay here all this time? He says, well, he says, when they put me on KP duty, he says, I went AWOL. I said, you went AWOL?
oh my gosh.
I said, so what happened? He says, well, I went home, and then my mother made me come back, and then I was in jail for a while, you know. And I said, what happened? He said, well, they put me in the post office. I said, you went in the post office? He said, yeah. I said, you didn't go no place? No. He says, I've been here since you left.
Oh, wow. You don't remember his name, do you?
Dick Cody.
For the record, Dick Cody. Oh, wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, and he went back to Long Island at the same time.
Oh, but you did see him again.
Yeah, but I used to stop and see him every once in a while, but then I got married and we lost track.
Yeah,
you know?
that happens. That happens.
Yeah.
When you got shipped, when you went to from San Diego to Korea, was that your first ship ride like that? And do you remember it? Did
Yeah, it took us 12 days.
Wow.
Today they fly everybody to different places, but we took the ship. It was a Navy ship. The food was terrible. It was just, you know, we had green eggs for breakfast and diced potatoes, and just not a good thing. But we came back on the ship, the General, I don't know the name of it, but it was a merchant marine ship, the General. But we had good food on it. And then right before we hit San Diego, they tell us to put our khakis on. So they gave us all our sea bags. They were on the ship with us. And they set up ironing boards and stuff, and we pressed all our clothes and got off the ship. And then we went to San Diego again, and then we had to wait for our orders, and then I couldn't get a flight out because it was so busy. And I had some friends up in Compton, California, and I called him up and I said, can you get me a ticket to New York, and he says, let me try. So he got it. So me and this other friend that I met, we went up to his house in Kempton, California. He got us. We stood there 2 days waiting for a flight, and then we got back to New York.
When you were a year in Korea?
Yeah.
What months was it? Was it winter when you went there?
We went there, and I think it was the end of July or the beginning of August, and it was rainy season, and the mud was terrible. And then Christmas, I mean, the cold weather, it was very, very cold there. A lot of snow, temperatures 7 below zero. They really didn't have the proper equipment to go through a winter like that.
You did, the Marines?
Yeah. They had a lot of people that had, frozen hands and feet and so forth and so on. And in fact, we went up on the line, Christmas, we was up on a line for Christmas. And they told us not to shoot, that they were going to, there was very little ammunition and stuff. They were short. So anyway...
They were short of ammunition?
Oh yeah. You can only, they didn't have a lot of stuff. So we waited. They told us at New Year's Eve at 12 o'clock that they were going to fire all this ammo that they had and so forth that they saved. And at 12 o'clock, New Year's Eve, they shut off all the ammo and cannons and, it was really something. And then Christmas Day, we were supposed to get a meal, Christmas dinner, and they were supposed to bring the food up by helicopter, but it was a blizzard and they couldn't fly. So they have what they call a Korean Service Corps. They're Korean people that they hire, and they carried our food up, just like they would carry supplies up. And by the time they got up there, everything was frozen solid. And we had coffee on a little sterno stove. That's what we defrosted. The rest of the stuff was terrible. But then we went down in reserve for a while. And I think they called it Camp Tripoli. It was they had a tent city that, I forget where it was. But we used to go down there for 2 weeks, R&R. And they give us a beer ration once a month and so forth. Salvation Army was great. I mean, they give us a couple of cans of beer and some potato sticks and stuff, paper to write home, and Salvation Army always was there.
Yeah, I hear good things. Were you engaged? Was there conflict, or were you engaged in battles, or were you away from that?
Yeah, but not nothing like you see on TV. You know, we had some mortar fire and gunfire, and it was just. It wasn't like in the movies where it wasn't like the Band of Brothers. In other words,
okay.
I never went through that.
Yeah, thank goodness. How about with you said that you were you communicating with your family? Letter?
Oh yeah.
Did you write
letters? In fact, we when we got back down after Christmas, they gave us we was allowed to phone our parents. So my brother was in Korea at the same time I was. He was in the Army. And we both called our father up on the phone. And he wrote a letter. He says, "Don't call no more." He says, "I got a big bill."
Oh, you called him collect or something? Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. So, but my brother, he was in the Army. I had never seen him there. So I went home. And then he was there, and then he came back. And then when I just got home, he was ready to go back again from his furlough. So this friend of ours called the Red Cross and got him more leave so that he could stay with me. So in fact, we took him to the airport, and then I got a call that my brother Bob couldn't stay for a week. They gave him another week to stay with me.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Oh, so you had some time together.
Yeah.
So he went back to Korea, and where did you go after?
No, he didn't go back to Korea.
Oh.
He stayed home. He got
gotcha.
discharged.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And then I got home for 30 days, and then I got my orders to go to Albany, Georgia. And that's where I was until I was discharged on February 4th, 1954.
Well, tell me again for the record about your trip to Albany. How?
Yeah, when I got to Albany, Georgia, it was just a little town, and I went up to I took cab up to the base, and when I got there, it was just a Quonset hut. And I went in, and this warrant officer was in there, and he said to me, "What do you want?" I says, "I come to check in." He says, "Well, you got any money?" And I says, "No, yeah, I got some money." He said, "Well, you better go back to town." He says, "We got no place for you here." He says, "You're the 80th guy to check in here." So he says, "You go back to town, and then you come back out tomorrow, and we'll give you some money. They give you subsistence pay." And that's what we did. And for a year, almost until I was discharged, I stood off base. In fact, the last 3 months I was in, they had the barracks done, and the good chow, and you can go up in the morning for breakfast and order what you wanted. If you wanted pancakes, sausages, and eggs, and whatever you wanted, they give you, you know. And the food was great. And it was okay, but I didn't like the barracks because all the time I was in the service, I was never in the barracks. I was always in the tent. They had tent cities in Paris Island. And but anyway, I got out on February 4th. They took us about 3 weeks or a month before we were discharged. They used to take us in and try to make us sign up again, and we could take embassy duty and go any place in the world, and it's your choice. And I wanted out.
You were ready to get
I
out?
was ready. I was not. I mean, I loved the Marine Corps.
Yes.
But I didn't want to stay there. So
When you were in Albany, you said there was construction going on. Did you continue training and drills? Did they put you through that, or it was
only
you learned to type?
whenever they got the barracks done, that's when they took us out and made us on Saturdays march, and then we got, we were on our own. But when you get back in there, all these different NCOs and stuff, they're kind of hard on you. And, if you didn't shine your shoes, if you didn't do this. So
You were ready.
I was ready to get out.
You were done.
Yeah, that wasn't my type of life,
Yeah.
I loved the Marine Corps, though,
Did you stay active when you got out? Did you stay active, or when did you get back connected with the Marine Corps as a veteran?
Well, it was a long time, and I'll tell you, mostly since I've been here at Celebration Village, and I seen that we had some veterans here. When we first moved here, we had not a lot of veterans, but I asked the people here at Celebration if we could get the veterans together and have a luncheon and so forth. They thought it was a good idea, and it stayed there and it grew. And we still got like almost 49 veterans here now.
That's wonderful, yes.
So, and I take care of them. I try to do different things with them and get them going again, and they like it. And I went down to this restaurant, Semper Fi restaurant, and we used to have a nice gathering from Marietta and stuff like that.
You got to explain who owns Semper Fi.
Yeah, it was
Ralph.
Ralph
Roker.
Him and his wife were in the Marine Corps.
Yes, I interviewed them.
Yeah, and we got together. In fact, I had the 90th birthday there, and when I went there, they had my name on the billboard, and they had cakes, and 90 years old. And I still see them today, and we bring some of the veterans back and forth that want to go.
Yeah.
So it's
He just started that too, not too many, that was his idea. He and his wife, after visiting in Vegas on a business trip, they went to a bar in Leatherneck that was marine.
he's a nice guy.
Great guy.
In fact, I met some really nice people, and that's how I met Mike and all of them, you know. So it was a gathering of men that were there and are out of it. And it's hard to keep in touch with people once you leave,
Yeah.
you know. But here we got a lot of veterans here, and unfortunately a lot of them don't want to do nothing, you know. They just rather stay here. But when we have the luncheon here at Celebration, we usually get about 45 people for lunch.
That's great.
Yeah.
So you've organized a lot of things. You've been the leader of getting things together.
I did all the veterans. I took them out for lunch. I took them. I do bingo 3 days a week. I've been doing that for 5 years. And I took them to the casino the first time up in Murphy. And then the first time I went up in my car with 4 of us. And then I talked to the people here, and they got the van to take us up there. So,
How often do you go to lunch up at Semper Fi in
well, we go
Woodstock?
the first Wednesday of every month.
Okay.
But what I'm doing now is that, you know, a lot of the veterans don't want to go out there. So I try to every other month or every 2 months have the luncheon here, and then they show up, you know, because they don't have to
easier.
go out and so forth.
That's good. And some of them it's hard for getting out.
Oh yeah.
But it sounds like Celebration Village is doing a lot to
Yeah.
cooperate.
Well, we had a lot of people passed away with the virus and so forth.
Yeah.
So the list always changes. You don't know from one day to the other, you know.
That's why it's important to get together when you can.
Yeah, that's exactly. I just thought that let's and they've been good about it. I mean, we go out. They have to pay for their own meals while they're out there, but they liked it. You know, we used to sit and talk, but like I said, we lost a lot of guys now. So a lot of them, we have maybe 15 people now, and then the people from Marietta that come down. I met him. I've met a few people there, and every once in a while I'll try to get somebody to come in and talk at the meetings, like somebody from the Veterans Administration and some entertainment. It's nice.
Yeah. Do you ever have any young Marines come in?
We we had a lady, an ex-Marine. She was a friend of one of the entertainers, and he told me that his next door neighbor is a Marine. Oh, nice. So I said, invite her down. So she came down. She was all dressed up in her blues. She was a warrant officer. Her name was Christine. And she comes over to me and she says, let's dance. And she took me out on the floor. We were dancing.
Good for her. Good for you.
She was in the Marine Corps. She looked like a kid. She looked like somebody just out of college, maybe. She was in the Marine Corps for 25 years.
Wow.
And she's retired. She's a warrant officer. And she was over in Iraq and all these places. And I lost touch with her.
Huh. Do you think she's in the area here?
Yeah.
I should try to find
Sandy
her.
Springs.
Oh.
I tried to get her, and she goes down to Marietta with Doug down there. You know Doug? The guy that's in the Marine Corps down there?
No.
He's the commandant of the Marine League down there.
Oh, Doug Tassie.
Yeah, Doug Tassie.
Yes.
Yeah, well, he
he's a
knows.
good friend of mine. Okay.
Yeah. So Christine was in the parade a couple of times and so forth, but we both lost contact with her. She's either traveling or doing something, I don't know.
Huh.
But she was in 25 years,
Wow.
and she looked great.
Huh.
I said to her one day, I says, man, I says, I never had a DI that looks like you. You know, she very pretty girl.
Oh.
So I says, I would have loved to have a DI like you. She says, no, you wouldn't. She says, I'm a bitch.
They can't. I haven't interviewed a Marine, a female. I'd love to, so that would be great.
Her name is Christine. You talked to Doug about
Yeah,
it too.
I'll ask Doug. I'll definitely do that. I'll ask him.
We lost a trucker. I sent her an email about a month ago, and I didn't get it.
We'll have to.
I don't know what happened. I guess too many old guys, you know.
Maybe. I don't know. What would you, if you keep up today, what would you tell another 17, 18-year-old who's thinking of joining the service? Would you?
My philosophy, I think that everybody that gets out of high school should go into the service for a year or two and learn the facts of life and how things are outside. That these people would pay attention to what's going on here. I think it's great that if they can get people right out of high school to go and join the service, especially the Marine Corps.
Especially the Marine, yeah. You're very proud of that.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, it's great what you're doing because you're actually taking a lead role, and it is important. So, but there's still young people like you that, you know, they're thinking about it, but needing to go in. So you feel it turned you in.
Oh yeah.
You feel it changed you as a young man.
Absolutely. I mean, I grew up in Queens in Jamaica, New York, and you go to school and so forth and so on, and that's it. Then you go out and you go to work. At that time, it was tough times. You didn't go to, my parents didn't have enough money to go to college and stuff. So you went out and got a job, but you get into the service, you learn what's going on around here in this world, and I thought it really turned me around.
Do you feel it helped you when you got out with your career, what you did later? Did you feel the Marine, being through the Marine had an impact on you?
No, not for my job. I became what they call a tin knocker, a sheet metal worker.
Oh.
And my father was in the business, and I went with him. And I stood, I did good.
Yeah, that's great.
You know, I was supervisor, and I did foreman jobs and ran jobs. But I think that every guy, even women, should go into the service and learn
I hear that.
discipline. I mean, no, I don't want to go into that.
Well, but you stated it. I mean, that's your opinion. It's good. And
I mean, these kids today, they're in a different world.
Yeah,
They're a different world than what we were, you know.
It is different.
We had hard times right from the start. I mean, my father lost his job. He was out of work for a year and a half. We were down to our last egg, and everybody had to go out and go to work. Simple as that.
Just for, we'll wrap up because we can still meet again to go over. You can always add to this because, like I said, this will be part of the Veterans History Project in Library of Congress, Washington, D.C. But it's so important because people can listen to your own words. But for the record, would you like to give the name of your children, just to, because you?
Well, I have Vincent. He's in Vermont, and I have Michael here in Kennesaw, and I have my daughter Kathy in North Carolina.
Okay. And how many grandchildren do you have?
I have 6 granddaughters and 3 grandsons, and 2 grandsons and 1 great grandson.
Wow. Well, you're proud of that.
Oh yeah,
That's wonderful.
my one boy went to college, went to work for Apple Computer, and after a couple of years quit, and he went back to school to MIT, came out second best in his class, and is doing fantastic today.
Wow.
And my one granddaughter is working for Apple Computers. She's going to San Francisco now.
What was her name?
Addie.
Addie. Okay.
Adley.
Adley.
And my daughter Carlotta, she went to college and then she quit. And then she quit a job. She was in Peking and Hong Kong. Knows 5 languages. Fluent in Chinese.
That's your granddaughter?
No, yeah, that's my granddaughter.
And what was her name?
Carlotta.
Carlotta. Beautiful.
And she just finished and got her degree, her doctorate, and now she's in Chicago. And then I have 3 granddaughters here. 2 are music teachers in Marietta schools, and the other one is working with a construction outfit, working on really big $1 million houses and stuff.
Wow.
And she's married. And I have a great grandchild now that was a year old in January.
Congratulations.
And then my daughter's children are both in college right now. Olivia is 2 years, finished her 2 years. She's now in Raleigh University. And Nico is in, I don't know the name of the school, but I know he's going to Raleigh. And he's 19.
Wonderful.
That's the family.
That's great, and you all get together and you're proud. I've gotten to see a lot of pictures.
Did good.
You did, yeah. That's
They good. I mean, the kids did good. They got good educations, and my kids are great. I was very hard on them and made them go out and go to work to earn something. And they didn't get everything they wanted. If they wanted a car, they had to go out and buy their car. I mean, today they give too much to the kids.
Yeah, I hear that. I hear that. I mean, well, those are good words. Those apply. They apply right to today.
Oh, yeah.
That hard work is helps make you appreciate life a lot better. But we will wrap up for now, and hopefully this was really, really good to sit and be able to talk one-on-one with you. And I hope that we can continue with your buddies here, the other people, because it's important. It's very important. And so thank you very much. And we will wrap up for now, and we can go to lunch.
Okay.
All righty?
Yeah, I got to get the bingo too.
Yeah. Oh.